You're listening to Systemic Error Podcast. The failure was designed.
Republicans expose their warped priorities with desperate last-minute play. Analysis based on an article by Thomas Kika. The GOP's budget is a confession of priorities. War, not welfare. House and Senate Republicans are scrambling to jam through a roughly $95 billion spending package that makes the party's governing logic plain. There is always money for coercion, military escalation, and domestic punishment, but never enough for poor people, working people, or basic public need. The package is heavy on military spending tied to Trump's war against Tehran, while Republicans argue over whether to offset it with cuts. That argument is not fiscal discipline. It is ideological theater. The people making the choice. The real decision makers here are not anonymous budget numbers. They are Republican leaders in Congress, with Tom Cole serving as the party's enforcer when members balked at the costs. His message was blunt. The war has already been called, so now the caucus must put up or shut up. That is not a defense of prudence. It is a declaration that the war machine gets treated as a settled obligation, while everything else is negotiable. The fake scarcity machine. This is the same party that cannot find money for the poor, the sick, or hungry Americans, but can always summon billions for war. The source points to two earlier reconciliation bills that make the pattern unmistakable. One financed immigration enforcement so the state could break up communities, detain people with no criminal record, and speed deportations. The other funneled tax cuts upward while taking from Medicaid and food assistance. Republicans do not lack resources. They allocate them toward domination and extraction. Misdirection as governance. The party's talking points try to frame this as a hard choice between affordability and responsibility. That is a lie of omission. The burden is not being imposed by necessity. It is being imposed by design. When Republicans say the country cannot afford aid for the poor, they are not describing a budget constraint. They are revealing a moral hierarchy. The state can spend freely on violence, border repression, and elite tax relief, but ordinary people are told to absorb the consequences and call it realism. The war on voters. Brown's warning about the bill's politics is sharper than the GOP's own self-justification. This package would bankroll a deeply unpopular war, help cushion farmers damaged by that war and Trump's tariffs, and if Trump gets his way, make it harder for Americans to vote. That is a familiar authoritarian blend. Subsidize the damage you caused, restrict the electorate that might punish you, and hope enough voters mistake punishment for governance. It is not a strategy for public benefit. It is a strategy for retaining power while hollowing out the public's ability to contest it. The pattern beneath the bill. The larger lesson is simple. Republican budgeting is not broken. It is working as intended. It protects state violence, rewards wealth, criminalizes migration, and narrows democracy, while insisting there is no money left for social survival. That is the governing model. Discipline downward, privilege upward, and call the result fiscal responsibility. You've been listening to Systemic Error. Thanks to Alternet for today's article. With the automated voice of Labritz, our thanks for listening.